Okay, so here we are with the 5.5.5.6 homework review, 18 questions as promised, and we begin with number 15. The directions here just said to find the sum or difference and write it in simplest form. We have all the same denominators on these problems, so we can go ahead and add or subtract, whatever we need to do. Our fractions here are broken into fifths, so our answer is also going to be in fifths. And we add our two numerators, so we say 2 plus 1 is 3. That's our answer, 3/5. Number 18, our two fractions are broken into tenths, so our answer would have a denominator of 10 as well. We add our two numerators and get 3 plus 7 is 10. So then when we reduce this, we end up with 1. Number 21, we have two negative numbers. So remember back to SADs, same signs add. So we're going to add these. Our answer will be negative. Denominators are 4, so in our answer it will also be 4. And then we think about 3 plus 3 is 6. We can both reduce and make this proper. So we're going to divide by 2 and say negative 3/2, and then we can make it proper and say negative 1/2. The next problem, we have different signs. So same signs add, different signs subtract. So we're gonna, since we have different signs, we're gonna subtract. Our denominator will still be 20, but we're gonna take 17 minus 9, which would be 8. Our answer is going to be negative because our bigger number was the negative one. And then we can reduce here by dividing by 4. So our answer becomes negative 2/5. Number 27, let's see. Okay, so to start, subtraction problem, but it's minus a negative. So it's that double negative situation that really it just becomes that we're adding a positive number. So we can do that and say, all right, well, 5 plus 3 is 8. 7 plus 5 is 12. And then we have ninths. So we have 8 and 12 ninths. This is not proper. So you need to think about how many times does 9 go into 12, which is 1. So this whole number would bump up to 9. And then we have 3 ninths left, which that can reduce by dividing by 3's. So our final answer would be 9 1/3. Number 30 over here, we have a subtraction problem. Both our numbers are positive, so we're just gonna subtract it out and see what happens. If we subtract our fractions here, our denominator is still gonna be 10. We have 9 minus 1, 8. And then we can subtract our whole numbers. 8 minus 6 is 2. If we reduce, we're going to divide by 2 on our numerator and our denominator, and we get 2 4/5. 4 problems here from 5.5. Our number 33 has 3 numbers that we're going to be adding or subtracting. I'm going to go ahead and do my first two, 12 7/8 minus 7 3/8. I subtract my whole numbers and then subtract my fractions. I have this, and then I'm going to go ahead and add the next fraction. So I would add my whole numbers, add my fractions, and then this is improper. So I'm going to need to bump the 7 up by 1, and because there's one whole here, and then I would have 1/8 left. So my final answer there would be 8 1/8. Number 36, we have some variables. They tell us what those variables equal. So we are going to substitute in, and then I can add and say I would have 2 12/15. I can reduce here by dividing by 3. So I would have 2 4/15. fifths. Next up, we have some variables that we do not know what they are equal to. We can add these to simplify because our denominators are the same. So denominator would stay the same. Say I have 1x plus 4x's. So I have 5x's. 5x over 8. Lastly, we have 10a over 3b minus 7a over 3b. They're telling us that b is not equal to 0 because 0 cannot be a denominator. That would be an illegal math move. So they have to tell us that. But we can subtract here. Our denominator is still going to be 3b. We have 7a's and we have 10a's and we take 7 of them away. So now we have 3a's. Notice that our 3's cancel out then, and we are left with a over b for number 42. Moving on to our problems for 5-6. So in 5-6, we're looking for our least common multiples. Number 18, we have the numbers 2 and 9. So we're looking for a least common multiple between 2 and 9. We always are going to start with our larger number. 2 does not go into 9 without a remainder, so we're going to start multiplying 9 by things until we find something that 2 goes into without a remainder. So if we have 9, we're going to multiply it by 2, we get 18. 2 goes into 18 without a remainder. So that would be our least common multiple. 21, let's see, we start with 28. 21 does not go into 28. So I need to think about multiplying 28 by things until I get our least common multiple. That sounds a little frightening to me, so I'm actually going to take the factor tree route on this one. 21 factors super easily, 3 times 7. 28, let's see, we'll do 4 and 7 and then 2 and 2. So we have our factor trees done already. Our least common multiple then is going to have every base. So we have a 2, a 3, and a 7. And you're going to take the highest exponent on each of those bases. So for 2, it would be 2. For 3, it's just 1, and for 7, it's just 1. So now I have this. So I am going to be taking 4 times 21, which would be 84. So our least common multiple between 21 and 28 is 84. Number 24, we start with 32. Does 18 go into 32? No. So I'm gonna think about doubling this because I feel like it should work. Be 64. Does 18 go into 64? Let's see. What about 18 times 3? Bless you. No, that's 54. Okay, so that's probably not going to work. So how about 32? I don't know. You know what? I'm going to do the factor trees again. Thought this one was going to be short. Okay. So we have 2, and it looks like our highest exponent would be 3, and then we have a 3 squared and a 4. So 2 cubed would be 8, this would be 9, 72 times 4. Ooh, I'm glad I went the factor tree route. So it's 288 for number 24. 27, we have 3 numbers that we're working on. So this would happen if you had 3 fractions that you were trying to add or subtract, and they all had different denominators. You're going to do what you do if you have 2 and start with your larger number. If both of these go into 84 without a remainder, that's going to be our least common multiple. 21 times 4 is 84, so that works. And 84 divided by 7 would be 12. So that also works. So our least common multiple here is 84. We have 4 more problems here. Still looking for our least common multiple on this one. We have numbers and we have variables this time. So the first thing we need to do is figure out what our number will be. 12 does not go into 20, so we need to start multiplying this by 2. 40 doesn't work. By 3, 60. 60 does work. 12 is also has 60 as a multiple. So our number part is 60, and then we look at our variables. We just have a C on both of them, so it would be 60C. With 33, 75, 25 does go into 75. So we already have our number part, which is 75. And then we look at our variables and we go with the highest exponent on those, which would be n to the 4th. 36 and 39, you're supposed to come up with a least common denominator. So we're only looking at our denominators. Our numerators don't really matter in these. We're checking out 5 and 2. So 2 does not go into 5 without a remainder, but when we multiply that by 2, we get 10, and 2 does go into 10, so our least common denominator would be 10. And down here we have 8 and 6. 6 does not go into 8, 6 does not go into 16, but 6 does go into 24. So our least common denominator here would be 24. That is all I have for you guys this week. I will see you in our Zoom on Thursday. And if you have any questions in the meantime, you can always post those on our class discussion board. Make sure that when you are watching these reviews, you are correcting your work first off, and then any questions that you still have, make sure that you write those down so that you can ask me either on your class discussion board or during our next Zoom. See you guys soon. Have a great day.